when I was writing the script, right, like the requirements were like 2 to 4 minutes, so I was like, okay, 2 to 4 minutes, that's fine. And then I said the entire thing, recorded it all, and it was 30 minutes. What? By now, I'm pretty sure everyone is aware that video games are a prominent source of entertainment. Like, if you go around and asking some kids, and you ask them, oh, what do you like to do for fun? They'll all probably be like, I play video games. Haha. But, just like how there's good and bad forms of entertainment, there's also, like, good and bad types of games, if that makes sense. Some games are like, wow, extremely good. You're, like, having so much fun playing them, while other games you're playing them, and you're like, bro, why am I wasting my time doing this? What am I doing with my life? So, in this little video thing, kinda, I don't know. I'll be going over the best and the worst game, which is completely, like, based off my opinion and totally subjective, but But before going into that, let's establish some guidelines. The first thing is that the first thing that makes a good game is a tutorial. Obviously, you need to have a good tutorial. Next thing is the 3 different pillars, which is the player, communication, and the appeal to, an audience, whatever, stuff like that. So, when defining something as vague as the best game, it's really hard to define something that fits this broad type of criteria, and everyone's like, the definition of best is different. It can be subjective and unique in their own way, which is literally why genres exist. But with all of that in mind, the best game, it's Minecraft. I don't really care what you say. I don't know, like, what you have to object to. It's Minecraft. It's probably the most popular game out there. Everyone knows about it. Minecraft is also like the best-selling game in video game history. So, like, literally, if you went up to anyone and you asked them what Minecraft was, they would probably know what it was. If you went up to Mars, you flew a spaceship up there and you're just like, ooh, aliens. You guys know what Minecraft is? And they'll be like, yeah, I know Minecraft. But some brief background, Minecraft was basically sort of created in 2009. Some guy named Notch was like, haha, I like blocks and geometry. And then they made Minecraft in 2011. So that's like the main thing, and then there was just updates all along the way. And in terms of tutorial in Minecraft, I mean, there's not really a tutorial. Technically there is. It gives you like guideline instruction type thing in the beginning. It tells you like break wood, craft some things, and it uses that to like reinforce the idea that you can do things. You can like craft things. Wow, you can break blocks. Wow, you take damage, that sort of thing. Just establishing normal game type things, which is, usually what a tutorial should do. Pretty good for a tutorial, if I'd say so myself. And I think one thing I'd like to mention is like Minecraft is ultimately a sandbox game, and basically, quote, it allows the player to have a high degree of freedom to explore and interact with the game in a non-linear fashion, end quote. And yeah, that basically just sums it all. Minecraft is something that you can't really have a tutorial for, since you can do whatever you want. How does it, relate to the player? Well, the main thing is that there's no goal in Minecraft, right? Technically, there's no goal. So, what do you do with that? Well, you make your own goal. As the player, you make your own goal. Whether that goal is like, killing mobs in the game, getting the best armor, recreating the earth on a 1-to-1 scale, because someone's done that for some reason, I don't know. And there's even like multiplayer, so if you want to play with friends, you want to socialize, you want to talk to people, you can do that as well. The second pillar, which is communication, is something that I'd say Minecraft does very well in terms of sending a message to the audience. Besides, like, the tiny menu at the bottom of the screen that shows, like, hearts and your, like, items that you're holding. Everything else is up for the player to figure out. Like, you might realize that, oh, if I fall from a certain height, I'll take damage. Oops, that type of thing. Or, like, some mobs drop different things compared to... Or maybe at night, some things show up and they start beating you up. And you're like, oh, what am I getting beat up? The main form of communication by Minecraft is just by the player's intuition. And that's, like, the main way of just leading the player in, like, what to do throughout the game. But just by using their common sense, like, oh, maybe you don't go there. Maybe you, like, don't walk into that orange boiling stuff. And lastly, the third pillar, which is appeal. And I'd say Minecraft does this really well, as the graphics is literally blocks. It's just blocks. It's cubes. And this choice in design really allows the game to resonate with all types of audiences. If a kid sees blocks, they're like, wow, squares, ooh, shapes. And elderly people, if they see blocks, they're like, wow, this is so simple. compared to like, you know, these advanced graphics nowadays that people have to pay attention to. Like, don't usually get overwhelmed by stuff like that, which is what makes Minecraft so great. It appeals to everyone. And the last thing I want to mention is like mods. I didn't really mention this throughout because I feel like it'd be sort of unfair, and it's really vast, since when you modify a game you can do basically whatever you want with it. But especially with Minecraft, since it's such a simple game, like at its base, you can literally do anything to like enhance the gameplay. You could turn it into like an RPG, turn it into an MMO, or turn it into like a horror game, stuff like that. And that's really what makes Minecraft the best game. Alright, here we go. The not so good game. Haha. It's Overwatch 2, by the way. It's Overwatch 2. I'm just gonna get straight to the point. Basically, this game is horrible. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, roll credits. I'm kidding, but you know, if you look at the Steam ratings, there's probably a reason why it has 91% negative like reviews on Steam. And I want to say out of the way that Overwatch 1, it was fine. It was a fine game, which, you know, it was okay. It was good. It was a game on the decline, but it was good. And then they were like, all right, Overwatch 2, guys. And you're like, wow, must be such a good game. And it was horrible. It was literally the worst. I mean, there's tons of reasons why Overwatch 2 is the worst game in existence, I would say. But first, let's start with the tutorial, right? When booting up Overwatch 2 for the first time, you're greeted with, you know, the standard, you know, like some robot voice teaching you basic controls, you know, shooting, abilities, ultimates, capturing an objective, stuff like that. And after learning all this, the game teaches you that there are different roles that exist. And that's like the bare minimum. That's basically it. And overall, I'd say, you know, the tutorial, it is okay. It meets the bar. It's not very good. It's not like the worst part of the game, but, you know, it's definitely a tutorial. But I would say it could be a lot more detailed and specific, since it can be applied to any other game, any other like first-person shooter game. Wow, you shoot, you have abilities. Wow, you capture points. Literally any other FPS game that you bring up. Now, as for the first pillar, which is the player, and obviously one of the most important aspects of the game, Overwatch 2 has the main objective of, you know, winning games. It's, you know, a competitive game by default. But the main issue was that at the beginning of Overwatch 2, you literally couldn't play the game, because the queue times were so long and the games were just so buggy that you couldn't do anything. You log in and it'd be like, yeah, wait 6,000 hours to play the game, and you're just like, what? And even if you did get in the game, you'd probably get kicked out because, you know, internet issues or just server issues in general. And eventually the developers did fix this, but there's still many game-breaking bugs. Literally, you can just look up Overwatch 2 bugs and you'll see a list of bugs that can just break the game, which becomes a huge problem when there's a ranked system, which I'll get into later in the communication. Alright, so the communication in Overwatch 2. As I said earlier, Overwatch 2 is basically a competitive game by default. You know, you're supposed to play with your team and, you know, win games. But the main problem with that is that the rank system is it's boo-boo. It's bad. And especially with the start of Overwatch 2, like, the rank system got much easier, that literally anyone could get into any division. Like, I literally just started like playing again, and I got to Diamond 5 by playing one character somehow. I don't know. I literally have like room temperature IQ. I don't know how I'm supposed to like do that. And one of the main issues with the ranked games in general is just people raging. You know, people get mad at the game, and that's not something that a game should make you do. League of Legends. And lastly, the worst parts about the game, the main reason that this game is so bad, it's the appeal to the audience. See, when Overwatch 2 was first announced, the developers were like, wow, we're gonna do so many new things compared to Overwatch 1. We're gonna add new events, we're gonna add completely new, you know, features, new story missions, stuff like that. And they're like, okay, I'm gonna deliver all your promises. I will make all the audience happy, you know. And that's literally what the community wanted. They wanted new things, and it promised all of that. But the main issue was that they never delivered any of them. So the community was just like, what? All that hype for nothing. A sequel, but it's literally the same game as before. So, like, what's the point, right? Overall, you know, I'd say there's many factors contributing to what makes a very good game and what a very bad game. But these are basically my main thoughts on what games are horrible and what games are great, which is, Minecraft and Overwatch 2, vast difference. There's a sandbox and there's an FPS game, which I guess you can't really compare, but at the end of the day, it's subjective to my opinion. So, what are you going to do about it? Let's just be honest here. The main reason that Overwatch 2 isn't dead, basically they play because the characters are hot. Okay, roll. Okay, yeah, goodbye.